The average teenager needs around 8.5 to 10 hours of sleep every night, and the teens who do not get enough sleep are more at risk to partake in drowsy driving, perform worse in school, and become involved in dangerous behaviors or succumb to mental health disorders. How could this problem be solved? The answer is pushing back the start times for high schools. By starting school later, the mental and physical health of American teenagers would greatly be improved because the amount of teen car wrecks would decrease, test scores would go up, and the risk of behavioral issues and mental health problems would be lowered. One leading cause to car accidents is drowsy driving, and the Research and Development Corporation studies show over 50% of those accidents are caused by young adults aged 16 to 24. Drowsy driving is known to be just as dangerous as drunk driving, and teenagers are at the highest risk because adolescent high schools are not getting the adequate amount of sleep. According to the National Sleep Foundation, teenagers' circadian rhythm, or body clock, which produces melatonin, naturally shifts to where they start to feel tired later in the evening. It is shown that the brain secretes this sleep chemical through 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. Early school starts are prohibiting teenagers from sleeping through their national sleep schedule, and as a result, making them more tired than adults and children. This is why drowsy driving among teens is so common. Wyoming's Jackson Hole High School shifted their start time to 8:55 and found that their motor vehicle crashes involving teenagers dropped by 7%. If all schools could just adjust their start times, the number of adolescent car wrecks would dramatically decrease. It is not an unknown fact that kids who are tired cannot learn at their best. In fact, this is something everyone has been aware of for far too long for nothing to change. Because teenagers experience a hormonal time shift during puberty, they start to naturally feel tired around 11 o'clock to midnight. If school starts at 8 a.m. in the morning, teens are being asked to be fully productive around 7:30 at the latest, which gives them around 7.5 hours of sleep at night. This is clear to see how this could be a problem. Students are experiencing extreme sleep deprivation, which can lead to sleepiness in class and trouble focusing. When students get a full night's rest, however, their brain's ability to stay awake and solve problems is impacted greatly. A study by University of Washington released that students whose school start times were pushed back significantly had final grades that were increased by 4.5%. Another effect that sleep deprivation on teenagers is that it increases their chances of struggling with behavioral issues and mental disorders. As the National Sleep Foundation says, anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorder have been linked to the lack of sleep. Studies show that teenagers who do not meet the required amount of sleep are much likely to suffer from depression. For example, a study of over 28,000 high school students showed that for each hour of lost sleep, the chances of teenagers experiencing depressive symptoms went up by 38%. Another study reports that 50% of students diagnosed with depression turn to drug or alcohol use. When a teenager feels worthless or anxious, they often seek temporary feelings of elation as a coping mechanism through the use of drugs or alcohol. This creates a big domino effect of sleep deprivation, leading to depression and sometimes the use of drugs or alcohol. It is important to take into consideration the problems teenagers face due to the lack of sleep. There is no denying that pushing back the start times for high schools would greatly impact teenagers by reducing the amount of motor vehicle crashes caused by adolescents, improving academic gain, and lessening their chances of becoming affected by mental disorders.